Hello, everyone. So welcome to another session on data analytics using Microsoft Excel. Today is day 14. This is the 14th session. So if you're watching the videos, then this is the 14th video in the playlist. We will do a recap of what we had done yesterday in the 13th session. We looked at how to create a basic interactive dashboard that was with slicers and timeline filters. We also discussed about report connections. Then we spoke about forecasting, how to estimate the future values depending on the historical data. We looked at scatter plots, how they will help us understand the relationship between any given two variables. And if the relationship is strong enough, then we can go ahead and also predict the value of the output variable based on the input variable, right? We can predict the value of the dependent variable based on the independent variable. Then we spoke about regression. So just a quick recap on that last concept. So here is power output from a power plant across different windmills in a power plant and based on the wind speed. Okay. So to understand whether or not there is a proper relationship between the two of them, we can simply select both the columns and insert an XY scatter plot or a chart like this. Okay. Now the point to remember here is the field that would be on the left side forms the x-axis and the field that would be on the right side of your data forms the y-axis. So this is the opposite of what we are trying to achieve. We would like to predict the power output given the wind speed, isn't it? And this is the opposite of it. So I'm going to delete it and I will simply cut this and insert it over here. So I am interchanging the position of both of these cells. Okay. So let me just take these two now and insert a scatter chart or a scatter plot. So this is the relationship. We can see that as the wind speed increases, the power output is also increasing. So there is a kind of a linear relationship here, increase in the wind speed leading to increase in the power output. Okay, this much we had understood yesterday. Now, when we go to quick layout, we have one particular scenario here where we can actually see the regression line also. So this line, dotted line that you're looking at is nothing but a regression line. It is called as the regression line. Okay, I think, take this kind of a thing. So you see this line. Now here the legends are not required. So I will simply go and make it none. Or we could go to that particular member, which is also showing us the equation. So remember, this is linear equation. Okay, this is linear regression. So the equation is also that of a straight line. This is the last thing we were discussing yesterday in the previous video. So how do we interpret whatever information we obtained in this XY scatter plot over here? What is it trying to tell us? Along the x-axis, okay, here, this is not getting selected. Okay, somehow pen tool is not working. Anyway, no problem. So along the x-axis, what we have is basically the wind speed. So I'm going to quickly change the axis title to wind speed. And along the y-axis, what we have is basically the power output. Okay, wind speed versus power output. So this is our scatter plot, which is talking about the relationship between the two variables. Yesterday, I showed you all one small image from where we can understand about the relationships, isn't it? Whether it is a positive relationship or a negative relationship. And we discussed about certain scenarios. So here we have the wind speed and along this axis, we have the power output. You can see that when wind speed is small, power output is less. As the wind speed increases, power output is increasing. So this dotted line that you notice is basically the regression line. Okay, it is the trend line, and the concept is called as regression. We need to recollect the equation of a straight line. Y is equal to mx plus c, where m indicates the slope or the inclination of the line, and c refers to the y-intercept. What is y-intercept? The place where this line will go and intercept with the y-axis when it is extended at minus 6.45. Now, just because we have the equation, can we go ahead and use it? Or do we have to check for any other criteria? We will not directly use the equation. We have to first check what is R squared value. This is called as the coefficient of determination. Okay. Only when the R squared value is greater than 0.8, then we can make use of this equation. There is another factor called as p value. It has to be less than 0.05. Means if p value is less than 0.05, it means that we are operating at a confidence interval of 95%. So this is an industry standard, confidence of 95, because no model can give us 100% accurate result. When we talked about forecasting, we discussed about the significance of confidence interval. Same thing gets applied over here. So because my R squared value is 0.95, it means I'm in a good place. I can use this equation, and by substituting the x value in that equation, the wind speed, I can compute what will be the power output. Okay, so this is what we had discussed as the last concept yesterday. Now, how do we run regression on this model? Of course, we got the trend line, we have the equation, we have R squared value, which is perfectly fine. But can we do anything else? Can we run regression here? We can do that. So up on the data menu, I have data analysis option. Okay, when I click on data analysis, it is asking me exactly what kind of analysis do I want to perform on this data. If you are not able to find data analysis on the data menu, on the analysis toolpack is in there, you must go to the file option on the menu, go to options, and you have to add, check the add-ins, okay? And you need to add in, go to Excel add-ins and click on the go button, okay? Analysis toolpack, you have to select that and click on OK. So when you add or include the analysis toolpack, what will happen is in your data ribbon, on the data ribbon, towards the end, after forecasting and all this, we have an analysis group that comes up. So we must go up here to data analysis, click on that. And what is it that we want to perform here on this data? You can see so many things are there: ANOVA related, correlation, covariance, descriptive statistics, exponential smoothing, so on and so forth. Here we are trying to perform regression. So I will select regression and click on OK. So it's going to ask me what is the input Y range, okay, what is the input X range. So my Y range is this information, okay. Y range is this information. And X range is the wind speed. So I'll go up there. And select the column for X range, the whole of this column. All right, we'll enable the labels and click on OK. Now it will open a new worksheet where it's going to show me the statistical values related to regression. So it is basically indicating the R squared value. It is indicating what is the P value. So you see, this is basically the y-intercept. All right. So for everything, the y-intercept and the slope. Y-intercept and the slope. And then we have a lot of other statistics that a data scientist would be interested in because they perform regression. Okay. So this is how you will generate the regression report and send it across to your data science team as an analyst. So this was a brief recap of what we did yesterday. This last part I was unable to show, so I repeated this. Now we will proceed with today's topics. Okay. Today we are going to discuss about some date and time functions. Very important concept. How to manipulate dates and time values and present it in the desired format. And then we will look at how can we bring data from other sources into Excel. How can we bring data present in a PDF file into an Excel? How can we bring data from an Access data source into an Excel? Or if data is present on a web. So basically, what are the options available? How can we bring data from different sources into Excel? That would be the agenda for today. Now I will start with today's topics, okay? Right. Okay. So now, let's say here you can see the data type. It's just general, okay? I'll just type in something. Let's say I'll type in 16 December 2022. Enter. You see what happened? The moment I entered some date and clicked the enter key, Tableau has understood that this is date, and it has Excel has understood that this is date, and it has automatically represented it in date format. Now, if you look at the data type, it is custom. And if we just go down to more number formats over there, what has it done? What is the customization that it has done? It has recognized this field as a date field. DD, MMM, and YY is the date format. Okay, if we want, we can change it. DD, YY, suppose. So it will change accordingly. So date, okay, it has recognized it as date. Now, what is the standard format? Okay, why is it recognizing 16 December 2022 as a date? That is because when I check the date format of this field, right? Well, I'll just do a right click and check the date format of this field. Okay, my system locale is English India. Okay, and in India, the dates are taken as DD, YY, meaning day, month, and year. So whenever I enter something in day, month, and year format in my Excel, it will automatically understand that it is a date field because of the locale over there. Okay. So you have to check what is your system locale, and accordingly, you need to enter the dates in the Excel. It will adapt to your system locale. That is one point to remember. Now, let's say I simply would like to represent today. I want to know what is the date today. Okay, so I'll just delete it today. How can we get the current date into an Excel? If you have to insert the current date into an Excel, there is a function called as today. It returns the current date formatted as date. So if I just write in today and hit the enter key, you can see it has given me the current date formatted as whatever is the date format on my local machine. DDMMYY, English, India local. All right. If I would like to know what is the current timestamp, for date we saw, we have today function to insert the current date. If I have to insert the current timestamp, the function that is to be used is now. What would now do? You can read here. It returns the current date and time, both formatted as the default date and time that we have. So if I say now, it will insert the current time. I mean, the time zone that I am in, it is 4:15 right now over here. That is what it's showing. Okay. Suppose sometimes you will notice something. See, a field would be a date. A lot of dates will be in your data file. When you bring it into Excel, sometimes it reads the date properly. And sometimes instead of giving the date, it would give you some random number. And we wouldn't understand why is a random number coming when it is actually supposed to be a date. So this is not a random number. This number has a significance. It is the number of days that have passed since 1st of January 1900. With reference to 1st Jan 1900, what is the day is what it is mentioning. And why are decimals coming? Because it also takes the time parameter if provided. Okay, so how is time stored? It is stored as fractions, in the sense, if it is afternoon 12 o'clock, the time would be 0.5. If it is 6 a.m., it would be 0.25. 1/4 of the day has passed. Or if it is 6 p.m., it would be 0.75. Midnight, then obviously the next day has come, isn't it? So suppose I take this, and if I just make this number, day is 44911 since 1st of January 1900, and the time 0.68. As I told you, time comes as a fraction. Okay, time comes as a fraction. For instance, suppose I give something like this. Suppose I say 1 December 2022, and I say 6 a.m. This is my date and time. Okay, this is my date. Along with that, I have given time. If you want, you can right click, check the format. So custom format it has taken. What custom format did it take? It is taking DDMMYY and then hours and minutes. Day, month, year, hour and minute. Okay. So this is 6 a.m. All right. Now, if I take this and make it a number, 0.25. Why 0.25? 6 a.m. Isn't it? 1/4 of the day has passed because day starts midnight. Then if I change the time over here, let me do I'll just undo this. If I change it to, let's say, 12 p.m. Okay, suppose it is 12 p.m. Then it would come, if I change this to number, it would come as 0.5. Midnight 12 to afternoon 12. Right, 12 hours done, isn't it? That is half the day is done. So it comes as a fraction. Now, suppose I change this, I'll undo that. And suppose I change this to 6 p.m. in the evening. 6 p.m. in the evening. And then I make it a number. It would become 0.75. So I hope you all understood that those numbers which come up, especially when you import data from some external file into an Excel, and if there are dates in that external file, and if Excel is not able to read them properly, you might find random numbers. So these are not random numbers. These are dates itself, but the way they are represented is different. They are represented in a numerical format. The number of days since 1st Jan 1900, and the time comes as a fraction of the day. Time comes as the fraction of the day. I hope this concept is clear. Now, what we will do is look at a few more date functions here. Okay, so let's say there is a system that I'm working on, and every day a lot of invoices would be generated. Let's say I'm working for Airtel or some sort of a mobile service provider. So daily, on a daily basis, n number of invoices or bills are generated. So whenever the bill is generated, the invoice date has to be the current date. Always I need to have the current date here. So what to do? I will simply replace it with I will simply use the today function. So all the invoices generated today will have this date. And then generally on an invoice, what else will be there? The due date, isn't it? The due date. By when are we expected to make the payment? So let's say we are giving people 30 days. So if the invoice is generated on 16 December, within 30 days, they should make the payment. Otherwise, the service will be disconnected. So how do I compute 30 days after whatever is the invoice date? It should come automatically based on the invoice date 30 days further. So what to do? We can just say this date plus 30. Okay, the date that is there plus 30. So automatically 30 days from there is computed. It would be 15th of Jan 2023. Okay, I hope you got the scenario. Today, if an invoice is generated, the due date has to be updated in such a way that it should be 30 days from the invoice generation date. Simply the today date plus 30. That's it. We have it. Now, let's say we've been given a date. Some date has been given to us. Okay, let me just copy that date in here and just copy the value. Paste only the values. Okay. And of course, I will make it a number. Date. Okay, this is my date. It is not the result of today. This is today. Okay, this is just some static date which I copied from here and pasted over here. Given some date, what if you have to pick up only the year part of that date and work with it? How to extract only the year part of a date? We have a function called as year. Of what? Of this date. Enter, and it will show me the year. What if I have to get the month part of this date? So there is a function called as month, and I can go and select the date. From this particular date, extract the month. Enter. You can see the month has come. What if I need to get the day part of that date? So day is the function that will give us the day. Now suppose we have time also. Let me introduce time now with the now one. Okay, suppose I have time also. How do I get the hour part of a given date? How do I extract only the hour part? Equal to, we have a function called as hour part of this. As I told you, it is 4 o'clock in the evening here, that is 16 hours. And the minute part, minute of this. So it is going to extract the minute part from that date. And notice, because this is the result of the now function, because it is the result of the now function, every time we do some changes to the data in this sheet, the time gets updated. When I inserted, it was 1622. Now it has become 1623. It's 423 now. Okay. Then how do we get the weekday? Fine, it is 16th of December, fine. But how do I know which day of the week is it? Which day of the week? We have a function called as weekday of this particular date I want. Okay, enter. So you see, it is the 6th day of the week. Let's say I want the week number. There is another function called as week num of this. So what is it going to compute and give me is which week is it in that year. So the 51st week of this year is this. Okay, I hope you're getting the point. So it's telling us what week it is. Like that, we have so many different functions which can allow us, to basically extract exactly what we need. Now, each of these can also be obtained by making use of the formulas written. Under formulas, we have date and time. So you can take a function. Let's say I want again the weekday. So I'll go with weekday. It's asking me weekday from where? I want the weekday from here. And if you click on help on this function, for every function, okay, help is provided. You can just go and click on the help. That is how you will continue your learning journey generally, okay? If you have completed the training, that doesn't mean you need to stop. For every function, you can go and explore further. So generally, week starts on Sunday, okay? So one is Sunday, then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so on and so forth. You see the example here. Okay, for each function, how do you go about it? All right, so let's go here and click on OK. Where is my Excel? Here, you can see it's saying that it is the 6th day of the week. Weekday function, both are the same. I want to get the year part. I'll delete this. Suppose I want to get the year part. I can just go to formulas written, date and time, and insert, make use of the year function. So year of what? Year, I need to fetch the year, but from where? I need to fetch the year from this particular cell, from the date that is present in this cell. So when I click on OK, you notice it has fetched 2022. So you can either type in the function and work with it, or you can directly go to the formulas ribbon, date and time, and you can see there are n number of functions that we can work with. Okay, till here, I hope everything is clear. We discussed today, we discussed now. Okay, you can observe the formula bar up there. We discussed how to extract the year, the month, the day, the hour, the minute, even seconds you can get if it is there. And then suppose I do that. 38 seconds have passed. Since 1626, 38 seconds have passed. And I don't know if you have observed or not. You notice how whenever I'm making some change, you can see this now is getting updated and this got updated. Suppose I do something and make a change. You see, it's 55 seconds. It got updated. 59 seconds. And the minute also got updated. From 26th minute, it is the 27th minute because this is now. So every time you are interacting with your Excel sheet, wherever today and now functions are used, automatically they will bring in the current date and it will bring in the current timestamp. And whatever you have extracted from there, that will also get updated. Obviously, right? When this is changing, everything related to that also changes. Okay, let me delete this now. And the moment I deleted it, I did some action on the worksheet, isn't it? I deleted something. I performed an action, delete. So you can see how the seconds got updated immediately. Seconds is here, this one, second. Okay, it got updated immediately. So whenever you do some activity, now and today, obviously, which are related to the current scenario, they will keep getting updated automatically. All right. So I hope this much is clear from whatever we have discussed. Now, let's say, we'll look at a few more date functions. So this was my invoice date, and 30 days after that, I wanted my due date, and you can see how the due date got updated. We got the number of days, etc. Now what we will do is, I would like to compute the number of weekdays. I want to figure out the workday, sorry, not weekday. Weekday we understood, right, over here. So let's say this is the invoice date, or this is some date, and I want to know what will be the date after 30 work days from 16th December. What will be the day after 30 work days? Means what? We are trying to exclude holidays. After 30 work days from 16th December, what will be the date? I want that over here. For this, we have a function called as Workday. Workday. Start date is from here. How many days ahead I want to see? 30 days ahead of it. And we have something called as holidays. For now, I'm not using it. We'll use it later. So 30 days, 30 work days after today. It's giving me by default in number format. Okay, this is a number, right? Now I'll have to go back to my home ribbon and format it to date. So you can see 30 work days after 16 December, the date would be 27 Jan 2023. So what is today? 16 December 2022. Okay. Okay, then 30 days from here, 30 work days. So Saturday, Sunday getting excluded, 5, 10, 15 till 6th. Then 13th, another 13, 20, 27. That is exactly 30 days from today. Exactly 30 work days from today. Work days meaning Saturday and Sunday, which are weekends, which are holidays, are getting excluded. Okay, I hope you all understood. Now you see if there are any other holidays. Okay, it is excluding the weekends, which are not work days, which are holidays, and giving us 30 days ahead. But what if I have a few holidays in between? Somehow this year, fortunately or unfortunately, all the important days have come on the weekends, like 24th and 25th, Christmas, Sunday. Similarly, our end of the year, 31st December and Jan 1st, that is Saturday, and Jan 1st is Sunday, isn't it? If this was a Monday or if it was a Tuesday, then that has to be excluded. That would be a holiday. So how do we do that? Now let us just assume that 18th December 2022 and then 19th of December 2022 are holidays. Let's assume that these two are holidays. Okay, these two are holidays. Now, while computing 30 work days from December 16th, I want Excel to consider these two also, which are holidays, and go beyond that. 2 more days it has to add because of the holidays. So what to do? The work day function allows, so from this, I want to move ahead 30 days. But again, if there are any holidays in between, that also should be considered. So I'll say for holidays, I'm going to say these two are holidays. This complete range of dates are holidays. So what should happen? Let's see. It's giving in a numerical format. We must change it to date. So it has taken us to 30th. From 27, it has pushed it to 30th. But I have only 2 additional holidays. Why did this happen? Because 18th, which I have given in the list of holidays, also happens to be a Sunday, which means 19th is the only additional day. Ideally, 19th is the additional holiday that I have to take into account. Then it should have added only 1 day and made it 28, isn't it? Why 30? Because when we push it, you can notice that 27th was already a Friday, isn't it? 27th is already a Friday. And here in between, I had another holiday. So it pushes it by 1 day. It comes across another holiday, which is Saturday and Sunday. So it pushes it across by 3 days and it's giving me 30th. I hope you all understood the logic here. Very important. Okay. Now let's say not 18th, but 20th of December is a holiday. So 19 and 20 are holidays. 19 and 20 are holidays. Now look at what happened to this. It got pushed ahead. So 30 days from 16th of December, 30 work days after 16th December is 27. But suppose we have 2 holidays in between. Those 2 days should be included. So ideally our thought would be with 2 more holidays, this should have become 29. But why did it get pushed to 31st? Because 28th and 29th are also weekends, Saturday and Sunday. Because when we push it ahead, we are ending up on a weekend. Tableau is, Excel again removes those weekends also, again pushes it further by another 2 days, making us land on 31st of January. Okay, this is how you can compute the number of work days after a certain date, including even custom holidays that might be there. Can we go back? Can we go back in time? Okay, 30 work days ahead of 16th December is 27th of Jan. Fine. Can I find out 30 work days prior to 16th December or whatever date I would be working with? We can do that. How will we do that? This is my start day. I want to go 30 days prior to that. 30 work days prior to that. So the function is workday minus 30. So this function workday will accept even a negative number. So if you give a negative number, it's taking you ahead in time, and it always gives in numerical format. So I will just select that field and go up here and make it date. So you can see this. Now you can manually go ahead and cross check in your calendar. Okay, the calendar on your machine, you can cross check. From here, if I go 30 days prior, where do I end? Where do I land? Okay, 4th of November. Okay, so this is the workday function, which is a very, very important function to be familiar with when you're working with Excel. We will now talk about incrementing certain parts of the date. So if I want to compute, let's say I have been given some date and I want to increment the year part of it or increment the month part of it. Okay, so this is the date and I want to increment the month part of it by 2. So how do I write it? Whatever date we have here, plus what is it that I want to increment? Only the month part. So I will say, you see, I have to add something to it. Okay, date of. I don't want to increment the year, 0. I want to increment the month by 2, comma, I don't want to increment the day, 0. Look at the arguments that it is expecting. Year, month, and day. So the date is incrementing the month part. Let's do one thing. Let's make it 4. So it has incremented. So 4 months ahead we are going. Okay. We're going 4 months ahead. We are in December, then January, then February, then March. So 4th month from December including December. December, January, February, March. So we land here. Okay. Now, let's say I want to increment the year part also by 1. So what will happen? Why is it taking it to 2024?
That could be because it was in December. We have added 1 year and then 4 months.
Okay. All right, sorry. Right. Okay, so you can also increment a specific part of the date by using that kind of a formula, date, and then mention which part you might want to increment over there. Now, what if I might want to increment the time part? Okay, so I would like to take some date here and I would like to add, let's say, 3 hours and 45 minutes to it. Okay, so equal to whatever is the date over here plus I want to increment the time part of it. So 3 hours and 45 minutes and 0 seconds is what I'm adding to my date. The incremented date will come here and I have to change this to, let me just go to the formatting and do it. Okay. Customize it. Okay, so here it is. By adding 3 hours and 45 minutes to this date, we got this. So it is whatever date is there in the E4 cell plus incrementing the time by 3 hours and 45 minutes. But this is dynamic, okay? This is dynamic. Whenever I make some change over here, this became 39, isn't it? So all the cells which are related to that are also getting updated dynamically. Okay. So that is how you increment a specific date part or certain parts of the date by just taking the date and then incrementing that particular part. It could be year, it could be month, it could be day, it could be all the 3. At the same time, it could be hours, minutes, seconds, or it could be a combination of hours and minutes and seconds and everything. All right, till here, I hope it is clear. These are some of the important date and time functions that are used in Excel, which might help you in your day-to-day life when you're working with this tool. Now, what we will do is, we will quickly understand about how to get the data from outside data sources into Excel. How do I get data from some other data source into my Excel file? So first, we will go up to the data ribbon. On the data ribbon, we have get data option. Okay, let me slightly increase this. Maximize my tool. So these otherwise were appearing as a small icon, but once I maximize it, you can see the whole thing. So we can bring data from text or CSV files in here. We can bring data from the web. We can bring data from a table or range of values, from a picture. A lot of things are there. First, I will show you how to bring data from a file. Let's say I want to bring data in here from a PDF file. Okay. My data is in some PDF file and I would like to bring that into Excel and work with that data in Excel. So this is the option. We go up to the data ribbon, get data from file, from PDF. So once I select the from PDF option, I'll be prompted to choose the PDF file. Okay, I have one file called as Amazon stock prices. So I'm selecting my PDF file. You can see that this is a PDF document. Let's import it. Now it will open a wizard kind of a thing where it's going to give us a preview of the data in each of those pages. So there is one table like this, and then we have a lot of data. So page 1 has something like this, page 2 has something like this, page 3 has something like this, okay? So on and so forth. We're getting a preview of the data. Let's say I would like to use the information on page number 2 for my analysis. If you want multiple pages, then you can select this checkbox, select multiple items, and then you can choose multiple pages. Okay, as of now, I need data only from page 2, so I will just stick to page 2 alone. After that, when I look at the preview, I notice that there are some null values. There is a little bit of confusion here, isn't it? It's not able to maybe understand the headings properly. So I will have to work on this data. The way Excel is trying to understand it or interpret it is, I'm not very happy with it. I would like to manipulate this, transform this data a little. Before I load it into Excel, I would like to transform it a little. So we have the transform data button. Now, when I click on the transform data button, it will open up another wizard where it will give me a lot of options to work with my data. So I would like to just select this and remove this row. This is not required. I'll remove the top rows. How many rows from the top do we want to remove? 3, 1, 2, and 3. There are a lot of nulls and we don't actually have any data in there because these are simply headings saying that these statistics are related to Amazon stock prices, which are pulled from Yahoo Finance on 4/24/17. And this is the range of dates for which we have information in the sheet. So these are all like headings and subheadings. So the top 3 rows are not necessary for my analysis. I'm going to remove them. All right. Now it is not able to understand the date, open, high, low. These are actually the column headers. It's assuming that all this is a part of the data. And it's thinking that these columns do not have a header. So it's giving them the column name. Automatically generated column names are being used. What are the names? Column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4, so on. So what I will do is go up here under the transform section, go up here and use the first row as headers. Now you can notice how date is the name of this column. Open is the name of this column. High is the name of this column. So a little bit of clarity is there. And furthermore, we can go here and change the data type of the field. I want Excel to understand that what I have here is date information. Okay. So it's not able to understand because of the format. See, my system locale is day, month, and year. And here it is month, day, and year. So it is not able to understand. I'll have to change the default formatting. So I will just undo that step. Change it back to, for now, let it be text. Later on, we will help it understand it better. Okay. So these kind of little bit of formatting you can do. You can remove certain columns or certain rows which you feel are not necessary, you can go ahead and use first row as columns, and there are many other things, replacing certain values. So I don't really have so much happening in this data, so I wouldn't want to replace anything. But if there is anything that you might want to replace, you can go and replace it. You can change the data types if it is being allowed. So this is currency. I want to indicate that this is currency. It's not able to understand that. I have to do it again through another method. Okay, anyway. So basically, these are different options that we have here, because it's coming from a PDF file, right? So that's the problem. Anyway, after manipulating your data, now what you can do is, if you're happy with the way you have manipulated this, there's nothing much to do now. My data is nicely arranged into columns, and I'm happy with the way it is transformed. So I'll go click on close and load. So it will close this Power Query editor. It will close this editor, and it will load that data into a sheet over here. It's loading the data, you see. Taking a lot of time to load, but should have happened by now. Meanwhile, I think I will go ahead and check any questions that you might have. Let me connect to YouTube. They will be available. Yeah, all the videos will be available for future also. They will be on our channel, and you can watch them whenever you want. No, now is the current timestamp. Time is the time function which will help you work with the hour, minute, and the second part. Okay, date diff function you want me to talk about. All right, we will see that once this data is loaded. I don't know why it's taking so much time to load. Yeah, we'll talk about the date diff function. Generally, it doesn't take so much time. So meanwhile, maybe we can go here and discuss the date diff function, right? While it is loading the data over here, it's taking time. So meanwhile, let's not waste time. We'll talk about the date diff function. There is a function called as date diff that is available, which will help us compute the difference between two dates. Difference between two dates in maybe number of years, number of months, number of days, number of, whatever you mention over there. So let's say I have one date. Let's take one date as, let's say 7 format. My date format is different. Okay, let's say we have 29th June 2021. Okay, this is one date that I have, 2021. Some random date, okay? This is date. And I have another date. Let's say as of today, we'll take 16th December 2022. Okay. Now I need the difference between these two in number of months. So one way of getting the difference directly is I can say month part of the end date, or let me take month part of this date minus the month part of this date. Okay, I'm getting the difference in the month part of these two dates. I'm getting a -6 here. When I take the difference between these 2 months, it is a -6. So it is 6 minus 12 minus 6, but that's not exactly what we're looking for, right? It's taking the numerical month here, subtracting the numerical month here. So it is doing 6 minus 12. But there is a function called as date diff. What will it do is it will take the start date. That's the first argument to be provided. Then the end date, the second argument to be provided. And how, in what units are you trying to compute? Exactly, months. So I'll give month. I want the difference between these two dates in number of months. So when I do this, you can see it has computed accurately, isn't it? So the difference between these two in number of months is actually 17 months. This is 2021 June. This is 2022 December. So that is 17 months. I hope you got it. So that is how date diff can be used. Suppose you want the difference in number of years between these two, you can specify the last argument as y. Then it will give the difference in number of years. Suppose you're looking at difference in number of days, you give the last argument as d, and it will give you the difference in number of days. 535 days is the difference between the two. Okay, so that is date diff function. That is the date diff function. You can get the difference between two dates using it in whatever format you might want to get it. So Narayana, I hope that is clear. All right. So still loading the data. All right, let's just move on. Now I will show you all how to bring the data from a database. Let's say I'm trying to bring data from Microsoft Access database. I have some data in a Microsoft Access DB, and I need to bring that data. So we just have to go to get data from database, Microsoft Access. I have one, which is an MDB file, Microsoft Access database file, which has multiple tables in it. In this database, there are multiple tables. So I will import it here. Now, when we import it, you can see that it's showing me a list of all the tables and queries in this database. I want to use data from, let's say, these two tables, fact table and product table. So this is fact table data, this whole thing, and this is the product table data. This is nothing but coffee chain data that we've been using in our training. So once I do this, and if I look at the preview, everything seems perfectly fine. I don't want to make any changes here. So directly I will click on the load button. So what will it do? It will bring data from those two tables and it will store them in separate sheets in here. Okay, so you see so many records loaded. Load to a table. So what happens is this data gets loaded in a table format into our Excel. You can see nicely in a table format. How do we know that this is a table? You can see these drop downs, isn't it? You can see that there's automatically given the options to put filters and choose the range of values, etc. So this is the data from the fact table. And you can go up to the home ribbon and check the data type for each of those. You might want to change the data type wherever applicable. So I will go here to product table now. This is the data that I brought in from an Access database. Okay. Excel is also very slow today. Very, very slowly it's responding. Okay, at least one I was able to show. Similarly, even these 47 rows should get loaded. It's taking a lot of time. All right, let's now look at one last option, getting data from the web. This action is still in progress now. I would like to make one final last demonstration, which is to get the data from the web. So maybe I will close this. That's better. It's better to kill it because it's taking invariably long time. All right. I would like to bring some data in here from the web. So here's the option to bring data from the web. Once we say from web, we will be prompted to give the link or the URL from where we might want to bring the data. Let's say I would like to bring data from this website, NFL.com, standings, okay, NFL standings. So I want data that is present in this table, which is basically points, indicating the points and the teams, what they have scored, some sort of game information. Okay. So from this website, specifically from this particular page on the website, I would like to bring data. So I'm just going to give the link here. Data from that link will be loaded. We will first be given a preview of the data. If we might want to make any changes to that, we can click on transform data button and make the necessary changes. If after that, you can simply click on the load button. Okay. So when you do that, the data from that website will get loaded into your Excel. Somehow it's taking a lot of time, maybe some network issue, but that's the way. I'll do one thing. I will give you this demonstration again in the next session. Next session will be the last session. So I will demonstrate these loading data one more time from the web. And then the agenda for the next class is to talk about a feature called as what if analysis. We will talk about the options under what if analysis. And that will be the last session of our training. Okay. So that's it from my side for today. Thank you all so much. Whatever questions you might have, you can ask. I will respond. So I have explained the date diff function. Videos are going to be available in future also. I think pretty much all the questions are answered. Anything else? Any of you? Any other questions from your side? If there's any, let me know. Otherwise, we stop here. Okay. Finally, I got this loaded here. So it's basically like you select the file. You can see it's showing me all the tables that are present on that particular link. If you see this link, we have one table here, and then we have another table here, National Football Conference. We have two tables over here, okay? There is American Football Conference, and this is the other table. So you can see it has identified both of them. This is one thing, and this is another thing. National Football Conference, American Football Conference. So if you want both, you can click on this, select both of them. All right. And then click on load. So once we click on load, the data from that website will come and sit in the Excel file. That's the idea. Okay, try it out from your side. You all try it out. It should work. And if there is any problem, you can let me know in the next class when we meet after the weekend. All right. Thank you all so much. Bye-bye.